community, but still largely rural and agricultural based. And so some of the challenges and the issues we have to deal with are also related to those things, the sheer, number of kilometers of roads and the issues with accessing, water and so on, distributing those water in a way that serves people, especially where you have small population pockets. So it's huge, it's diverse, it's amazing, but it also comes with those challenges.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, it is one of the largest constituency in Jamaica. So I know once you're from a large geographical area, especially rural Jamaica, your constituency have challenges. Can you just share some of the challenges that are facing the constituents of Southeast Centre? What are some of the day-to-day challenges that you face in your constituency?
Yeah, so top of the list would be roads, and the road conditions, have just gotten worse over time. And even with efforts to patch and rehabilitate, in general, and especially under the JLP government of the last two administrations, it's not been as supportive as you can imagine. That they wouldn't be very supportive in helping to make things more bearable for the residents of the constituency. So we have a major challenge there as it regards roads, and it's the parochial roads as well as the other roads, the NAA controlled roads. That's something which has affected every sphere of life, and I think it's something that this government doesn't get, and something which a PNP government understands, that roads doesn't only mean that strip you drive on or you use to move from one place to the other. It's a social issue. It's an economic issue, in the sense that if you're traveling down to Northeast to work in one of these hotels and you're getting minimum wage, you sometimes decide not to continue to work because the money gets eaten up in transportation. The money gets eaten up having to pay that extra cost. And of course, it's a social issue, in the sense that I've heard people have said to me, man, you need to do something about these roads, because I can't carry my neighbor in my car anymore. Because when I think about the damage with the additional weight and the condition of the roads and the potential damage, people are making these choices. And so the roads it's a major challenge. It's something that I intend to look at differently, try to be a lot more creative about how we deal with it. But I think a PNP government that is clear about what needs to happen in terms of the central government support to constituencies to deal with roads will make a major difference. The other challenge, big one, is water. When it's the rainy season, all is well. But of course, in some areas, in over 40% or so of the constituency, there's no service from the Water Commission. And so those areas, as soon as the rain stops, you have to sort of figure it out on your own with whatever storage you have at home. But we also see creative solutions. We see at least one community which has the Peter River community, which is where I'm from, which has a community water system managed by the community, tapping the local river, storing the water, distributing it to the community at a cost, right? So we do intend to ensure that the Water Commission extends and expands its services. But in addition to that, we also have to look at how we work with, because one of the luxuries, I guess, of my constituency is that water is available. There are multiple places around the constituency, rivers, wells, and so on, which we can tap and use to distribute water to the communities. So that's the supply is not the major issue. The bigger issue is around storage, treatment, and distribution, which is where I intend to put the focus. So that's the second one. Youth and opportunities for youth to develop, to grow, to be their amazing selves. I think we're failing this generation in the sense that we tend to, keep them at arm's length. We call them in when it's convenient, but think about it. a young person who has left high school has to basically try and figure things out on his or her own. And that is a problem. We need to do a better job of scaffolding, as we say in education, their transition from school to the world of work, or whether they want to continue learning or they want to start a business, right? So that means for us as a constituency, the opportunities which have been announced in the budget presentations around housing, around entrepreneurship, and of course around education in terms of the access to student loans. We intend to tap into these and to make sure our young people get access to them. A young person who wants to start a business, for example, my intention is to establish innovation hubs where they can work through their ideas, get support to take those ideas to go from idea to action, and support them in those initial months, probably even the initial year, to get their businesses up and running. You know, a young person said to me the other day, you know, I hope you don't just like young people company, but you believe in young people. And that's something to that young person, which means you are doing the things to facilitate their growth and development. And that's my administration. My first term is going to show the world what that looks like. The other issue, of course, is education, and education in the sense of the need to ensure that we start early. We need to get it right in the early years. And as a country, we are not doing the best job. And you've heard us as a party say repeatedly, read by grade 3. And I think if we get that right, at the moment, what we're doing is you have a lot of children who struggle through those early years of primary, and then we try to make up. We try to do remediation to help them to get through primary, and that continues into secondary. But we know from the evidence that if they read by grade 3, they have a very different path as compared to a child who doesn't, because a child who doesn't has a greater chance of dropping out of high school and so on, because of the cumulative effect of not learning to read and to reason, do math in those early years. So a high priority for me is ensuring that children are reading by the end of grade 2 when they enter grade 3, because that sets up, as I said, a pathway for them that is very different than if they are struggling readers through their primary years. Another major challenge for us in the constituency is housing. And again, you know, we have housing in the sense of the need for young people and women especially to access durable structures in which they can live and, you know, raise their families. We have a lot of communities where temporary solutions are being used, and, you know, those carry on for an extended period of time. And so whenever it rains, and, you know, especially when we have the storms and the hurricanes, then people are at tremendous risk. So we have to look at that. We have to find ways to ensure that we know who our people are. You give them a start, you know, you give them a start, and they turn that into something magnificent, a one room becomes a mansion. And I think most people just want that initial thing that they can then work their magic from. And I commit to facilitating that. Again, we saw from the budget presentation some of the suggestions, including the fund which young people can access. And so we have to work to see how we tap into those and ensure that the people of Southeast St. Anne also benefit from those things. And the final one I'll mention. The final one I'll mention is just the broader issue of our communities. And for those who saw my article on Sunday, focused on how do we bring back that energy, that life to communities. And I traveled the length and breadth of the constituency as well as the country more broadly. And we see people not forming themselves into groups, not uniting in the ways that it certainly was when I was young and a boy growing up. And you know what that does is that it allows the community to help itself to deal with whatever challenges it might be facing. But it's also for accountability purposes. You know, if you have a citizens association and you're meeting on a regular basis and doing activities, that's an amazing avenue through which your member of parliament, your councillor, can be in touch with you, can come to talk, to discuss issues. But the other thing is that there are lots of resources that will not come through a member of parliament's office, right? But would more directly go to a civil society organization. So I intend to invest in ensuring that we have registered organizations in the communities across the constituency, because as I said, with that comes a whole range of other, issues that get addressed, and just a life and energy into communities that I think we're missing right now. And this is a PNP thing. Remember, it is the PNP which started Jamaica Welfare by Norman Manley back in 1937, and which has given rise to the Social Development Commission. And the Social Development Commission at the moment needs support in order to actually do what its mandate requires it to. And I think, again, at a national scale, it needs to be done, but certainly in the context of Southeast St. Anne, it's a high priority for me. Let me pause there.
Thank you, Dr. Russell. Boy, may I tell you, see what I appreciate, and the comment section is admiring the thought that you're having. Like, everybody is just in awe the way you're responding to the needs and some of the challenges affecting Southeast and in general the country on a whole. But speaking on the budget, Dr. Russell, I listened to the party leader, Mark Golding, and one of the initiatives that he bring forward in the budget is that the next People's National Party administration will emphasize when the students leave universities, they will be given a grace period of, I think, 6 months thereabout before they find that their niche, because what is happening, and what a lot of young persons are saying to me is that when they collect the student loan and they finish university, and after they finish university, they have to be hurrying to pay the student loan, the harassment from the student loan bureau. And so many of them have to be putting themselves in some position. You see them at the BPO, the call centers, in supermarkets with them degrees, all because what they don't want to be gazetted or to be put in the newspaper. And so the People's National Party have decided that after graduating, they will be given a break just to find their niche. What do you have to say about that, Dr. Russell?
Yeah. And this is not unconnected or unrelated to the broader problems in the economy, right? So if you have a loan, you leave tertiary institution, and now you have a debt to pay, but you don't have a job that allows you, to pay that loan, and often, as it is like now, actually, the repayment amount is fixed, and you must start almost immediately to start repaying. So we're giving an extended period of time for you to figure things out, to find that job, and also that it doesn't cost you in terms of your credit rating and so on, which is really, really important, right? So it's caring about the person who has taken the loan and thinking about the multiple ways in which a decision to start, or requiring them to start paying too soon after they've graduated, will affect them in the longer term. So the other side of this is that the proposal from the party is that the payment is also going to be linked to what is being earned by the worker, by the borrower, which again allows you to if you don't get the ideal job and you settle for something, you still continue to service your loan, but you're doing so consistent with what you're earning, right? So it's a more people-centered, which is what we're about. It's considering the person and making sure we're not so hawkish about the repayment of the loan that we hurt the person in the process. That's what care in a government looks like. And I think that's what this is demonstrating. And if you think about so many of the proposals which are put on the table. So since we're with education, think about, a parent who cannot send his or her child to school. You're in Matney and your child is attending Charlemont in St. Catherine. And so you can't find the fare for transportation. And a PNP government is saying that child should be supported to go to school. And if when that child goes to school, that child should have a hot meal, right? A daily access to a hot meal on a daily basis, lunch preferably. So you are able to go to school, you're fed, your nutritional needs are taken care of while you're at school. And then, you're allowed, you're given the space to flourish as a student, because those two things alone are significant determinants of how the child will perform. But then imagine the burden that takes off the household, right? Because you don't have to think about those two additional costs. But that child now, having done well in school, if that child is the first one to matriculate to university, 1 degree per household, the government will cover that cost for that degree, right? That child is then able to turn around and help that household to be better and to move up socially. So if you look at all those pieces, you'd see again what care for people and putting people at the center of policies looks like. And it doesn't need to be grandiose, it just needs to be speaking to what people need in order to make better of themselves, giving them a hand up so that they can make better of themselves.
Thank you for that, Dr. Russell. The next thing I want to talk a little bit on, would you agree with me, Dr. Russell, if I should say, do you believe Southeast St. Anne has been neglected, especially by this government, because, quote unquote, they say it's a stronghold for the People's National Party? Because what happened, we are neighbors. I am in Southwest, right? And I can tell you, Southwest is now controlled by the Jamaica Labour Party. And the strongest division in Southwest St. Anne is Alexandra. And that road from Alexandra leading to Southeast St. Anne in 9 miles has been fixed by the Jamaica Labour Party. But once you reach in 9 miles, leading from 9 miles to, I think it's it's not Clement, it's Clement. That road is right. That road is so bad, and I think it's a neglect from this Jamaica Labour Party government, all because Southeast St. Anne was won by the People's National Party. Would you agree that St. Anne Southeast has been neglected by this government?
You're very kind. Neglect is a kind description of what they've done. I think sabotage is more apt. If you, as you've rightly said, if you look at what's happening in the neighboring constituencies, their roads, the only PNP constituency at the moment in St. Anne is Southeast. And it will remain so. And we will change a couple at least of the others in the process. Actually, we intend to change all of St. Anne in the process. So what they have done is to sabotage the constituency to the point where what you're seeing now, the result of it, roads that are honestly unsafe in some places. And the intent is to frustrate people and to make people think that it is the People's National Party that's not working in their interest. But it is far from the case. It is the deliberate work. When you've had a government that has been in power for 13, 14 of the last 17 or so years, then you understand the power that comes with that. And I think sometimes people lose sight of that fact, that the last 4 administrations in this country, only one was a PNP administration. 3 of the last 4 have been JLP administrations. And in those administrations, our constituency, Southeast St. Ann, has felt the brunt, because this is not a new thing, right? It go back to the Siaga administration of the 80s, and this push to make Southeast pay, basically, for being Southeast, for standing up for principles and standing up for a party that the people truly believe in. And that hasn't changed, right? And you're seeing it now in what's happening. So neglect is as I said, it's much stronger than neglect. It's a deliberate sabotaging of what is of the constituency that is going on.
Absolutely. And while you're speaking, let me just tell you, Dr. Russell, that you have been joined and sending some love and support by the Member of Parliament in waiting for Southwest St. Ann, Danishka Williams, and also the next MP for Central St. Mary, Mr. Omar Newell, and they said to big you up in the comment section. But yes,
all right.
I know. Yes, man. I know. Absolutely. I know time is against us. But can I ask you, are you okay to stay with us until about 11 o'clock, Dr. Russell? Is that okay?
Yes, that is fine.
11 o'clock. Okay, so another 20 more minutes with Dr. Russell. Before I get ready to open the phone lines and take a few calls from persons in Southeast St. Ann, in particularly, can you just share some insight on something major that is about to happen in Southeast St. Ann, and that is your campaign launch come the 23rd of April. Can you just speak a little bit on that, what is to come on the 23rd? Speak to the people of Southeast St. Ann.
Yeah, so 23rd, that's Wednesday, the Wednesday after Easter Monday. Inviting everybody to come out, because what we intend to do is to travel the length and breadth of the constituency with the party leader and other members of the leadership of the party. And then we end the tour with the launch of my campaign in Claremont. And this is a chance for you to be there when we start this new chapter of the journey for what Southeast St. Ann will be like over the next administration, certainly the next 5 years. It is going to be an opportunity to hear from all of your favorite comrades, Danishka included, Omar Newell included, but of course Dayton, Damian, Fitzjackson, and so on. So it will be a big event. It will also be a chance for me to set out my plans, my vision for making Southeast. Southeast has traditionally been held up as a model constituency politically for its organization, for the leadership we've had from Ivan Lloyd to Seymour Mullings to Comrade Aluna Samba to Comrade Lisa. And that is how we've been held up, and we're going to continue that, but also set the vision for developmentally what Southeast will be like under my leadership, beginning with my first term. So 23rd, come down to Claremont. We're going to have a grand party, as well as, a chance to send some strong messages and share the vision for where the constituency will be going. So I invite everybody to come on down to be able to do that.
That's right. So on the 23rd, it's on a Wednesday. This month, April, all road leads to Southeast St. Ann. We're now joined by MP in waiting for Southwest St. and Danishka Williams. But just before I let Danishka come in the conversation, Dr. Russell, someone leave a comment in the comment section, and they made reference to a particular area. I'm not sure if it's within your constituency, but I think there's a little district known as Prickly Pole, and they're saying, boy, the roads stay bad up there. Can you promise those residents in Prickly Pole that you will be lobbying on their behalf, making sure that their road will be fixed in, short order?
Yes. So Prickly Pole, it's part of the road. Sorry, I'm getting a feedback. Which way? Yes. So the same stretch you mentioned from 9 Mile going down to Alderton. So Prickly Pole is closer to 9 Mile. It's after Fullertown coming down. So that road is one of the roads identified for rehabilitation under the Sparks program. And so my hope is that gets done in short order. I think everybody's anxious to see that road taken care of. But if it's not done under Sparks, that road, that connection between 9 Mile and Alderton, between myself and my neighbor MP in waiting, Comrade Danishka, that road is a connection to one of the most popular tourist destinations in my constituency. And so I'll fix that road because the people deserve it. I'll fix that road because it's going to make a difference in the lives of the people economically. Because at the moment, a lot of the traffic which goes to the Bob Marley Mausoleum, they go around Southeast St. Anne because of the condition of the roads, including that section going through Prickly Pole. So, yes, is the answer. Sparks, if Sparks doesn't do it, I intend to ensure that it happens.
Thank you for that assurance, Dr. Russell. Thank you for that assurance, sir. And I think we have our first caller, Mr. Charlton Miller. Good morning, sir. Please go ahead, turn on your microphone and put your question to Dr. Russell. Turn on your microphone, sir. The gentleman in the box, Mr. Charlton, could you please turn on your microphone? I don't know. I think he's having some challenges. Turn on his microphone. Let me see if there's somebody else. Let me bring up Mark and see what Mark has to contribute. Yes, Mark. Good morning, sir. Hello. I think these people are, they're not ready, but yes, Dr. Russell, just for the remainder time that we have, could you just lobby on behalf of your constituents, just put some initiative out there, some of the plans, some of the needs, the wants of the residents, because I don't think we have any callers here for now, but yeah, could you just lament some more on Southeast St. Anne?
Of course. Yes. The vision for Southeast St. Anne. Good. I was getting feedback, so just waiting. Good. Yeah. So for Southeast St. Anne, we have a vision which we refer to as the 90-90-90 plan, and when you think about the trajectory which young people and people generally go through from the early years to adolescence into the world of work, when we think of how we develop and support people, we should think in that way and ensure that our planning covers all aspects of their development. So for Southeast, my plan is focused on ensuring that we have young people, we have children reading and doing math early. So 90% of them at a minimum the aim is to have all but 90% at a minimum able to read and do math by grade 3. Then that sets them up for the next phase, which is they will do well in the rest of primary. But then we also want to ensure that 90% of our young people, when they're leaving high school, they have the requisite skills, the requisite minimum five passes, including math and English, to take them to entry-level work or entrance into tertiary, or if they intend to start their own businesses. So that's the second plank of our strategy. And then the third one has to do now with the having 90% of young people connected to work, training, skills, or running their own businesses. Now, the entrepreneurship side of this is critical, right? Because so many young people, they have grand ideas they want to do, and they get frustrated because they're not getting the support that they need in order to make things happen. So a part of the plan, I think I mentioned it earlier on, is to ensure that we have these business incubators / innovation hubs, these spaces that are safe spaces for, I'm saying young people, but whomever wants to take advantage of them, to go in, think through their ideas, get support in bringing those ideas to fruition, right? So we support you to bring forth, give life to your idea, take it to implementation, and then give you some of the initial resources that you need to start the process. And then in addition to that, we ensure that even if you don't work through these innovation hubs, if you're already you've already started a business, you already are doing your own thing, you get support to expand to the point where you can take on, employ at least one other young person, right? So that is part of helping the young person across that lifespan, but then also acknowledging that there are some who are already out of the system who need support in order to take their life forward.
All right, may I tell you, just listening to Dr. Russell, can you imagine as the deputy shadow spokesperson on education? Yes, there's a feedback. Just a second there. Yeah, I was saying, just listening to Dr. Russell, and as the deputy shadow spokesperson on education, can you imagine Dr. Russell in Parliament with Damian Crawford? Can you all just see the vision, how revolutionary education would be in this country? And may I tell you, we have to put these people in the House of Parliament. Are there any questions? Anybody out there listening to the discussion and want to put a question to Dr. Russell, please send a request. We only have 9 more minutes to go, and we would love to pose some questions to him within the next 9 minutes. Let me see who is here. I'm seeing Marie. Let me bring up Marie and hear what Marie has to say. But yes, we are just waiting on Marie to connect. Good morning, Marie Claire. Welcome. Go right ahead and put your question to Dr. Russell. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Dre. Dr. Russell, good morning. I am vacationing in the Greerfield community, and there are a few things that I have noticed. The first thing is that there seems to have been a fallout with the online teaching during COVID. So you have a lot of young men right now who did not go back to school to finish up their to do their subjects, whatever it is. So right now they are doing odd jobs now, but they just need some sort of motivation that can put them in the right direction. They're not looking up for handouts. I know a specific young man who wants to do engineering, but he did not matriculate to the CXC, So it would be difficult for him to say go and try to go into heart. So I don't know if you have, based on what I've heard you say, you do seem to have plans for these young people. A lot of them are into farming, they're hardworking, they just need some motivation, some hope that they can make it without having to go into Kingston. My next observation here is that this area is a farming area. A lot of the homes are built on the hillside, and I've noticed that the water has stopped on the flat, and there are no pipes leading up into the homes that are built on the hillside. I was told that there's to the left of the community, they have water that lead into their homes. So I don't know if it's a political thing. I don't want to go there. I am new in this area. I'm just staying here for a short while. I don't know if you can address this situation. I don't know who the counselor for the area is here, because people have to be paying a lot of water to get the water up to their homes and up the hill, so I don't know if there's any way, if as you said, from the community level, they can work from the community level to get water coming into their pipes in their homes.
And just before you go, Marie, which community you said you're vacationing in again?
Greersfield. He mentioned Greersfield.
Okay, that be Dr. Russell, would you have any idea which division Greersfield falls under, sir?
Oops. Are you hearing me?
Yes, Dr. Russell, go ahead.
There you go. All right. So Greerfield is in the Monique division. The water situation with Greerfield, no, it wasn't politically motivated. It was an issue of resources at the time. There was a commitment to extend further beyond Greerfield all the way up to Camperdown. On the Camperdown side, there is in Clover Hill, there is a big community tank. And I think it was a decision to prioritize the area that didn't have any water at the time. But yes, the community has spoken to me as well about the need to extend the service to ensure that it continues further up towards Camperdown. And the issue there, I think the pumping facilities and, it needs to be piped. And then secondly, because the supply is sufficient to reach, it's the piping and so on which needs to be done. So there is the potential there to extend that. Regarding the young people, yes, not everyone wants to go back to a formal training facility, and that's okay. There are multiple ways, including on-the-job certification, if they still want certification. And I will encourage young people to get certified, because that opens many doors that you can't open if you don't have that certification. Now, that's not a precondition for starting your own business, but it will help you to go further and to do more if you have it. So partnership with Heart will be critical in this regard, because they will come or set up on the job work-based certification, so that can be done. Now, I didn't make mention of it earlier on, but part of what I intend to do is to provide startup kits to young people, and these are not necessarily physical kits. It's to give that package of support. I was in Riverhead a few weeks ago, and the young men are planting plantains. And the kit that they want some more plantain suckers, they want some fertilizer, and they want, I think it was a pickaxe or something, because the area they were farming in is quite rocky. So it will look different from person to person, from place to place. But what I am excited about and want to do is to facilitate ideas and ensure that we are moving young people, especially who don't want to come back to you 10 times. They want something to allow them to earn and keep earning on their own. And that excites me, and that's what I want to facilitate. I saw a question in the chat as well, Dre, about high school zoning. And that's not something which has been discussed as a strategy of the party as yet. It's not something that we've talked about, so difficult to respond. I think the critical thing is to ensure that every school, especially the high schools, but across the board, is a quality school. So you can send your child to that school, without having to second guess whether or not he or she is going to get the best education possible. And if we're thinking as a party that's big on social justice, that should be the case, that all of our schools are delivering a high quality education to our young people. But zoning as a specific policy is not something we've put on the table or discussed this yet.
Thank you for clearing up that, Dr. Russell. And Marie is happy with your response. She's saying thanks for the question, but time is against us, and it's now 11 o'clock. But just before we wrap up, Dr. Russell, any shout out? Just go right ahead, big up your constituency, big up your divisions, and just thank them for the support they have been giving to you over the few years you have been their representative. Go right ahead, sir. Your final words.
Yeah, I see Kadian Harty here. Kadian is the councillor for the Claremont division. Big up yourself, Kadian. The other councillors in Beechertown, Ian Bell, in Monique, Lloyd Garrick, in Bensonton, Junior, Clovis, Gohagan. So just to thank them, we're going to make a big statement in the upcoming general election, and we're going to do the work that is required to ensure that the confidence that our people put in us will pay off. We are serious about ensuring that the policies at the national level, but certainly the work at the constituency level, is delivering results in the lives of our people. That's what we're about. So I thank everybody across the constituency, and even those who are outside and are sending love. I thank you for that, and I look forward to your continued support in the weeks ahead. And I know we're a praying constituency, so pray that the Prime Minister gets the courage to call the election. Dre, thank you so much. Bless you.
My pleasure, Dr. Russell. Big up yourself, and see you on the campaign trail, sir. Thank you so much for gracing the platform once again. It was my pleasure.
Same here. Take care of yourself.
All right. And there you have it. Jamaica, Dr. Kenneth Russell, the next Member of Parliament for St. and South Eastern. Rights them comfy cut off the man head. You know the labor rights them operate, and them go on and them go on and them go on. Big back Senator Brock Kyle. Him a the fox one. Idiot I mean. See me